What's the thing on your left at your left elbow there?
This one?
Yeah, what's the thing behind it? The kind of grey, bobbly looking thing. Is it part of the bed? No, like the furniture thing beside.
It's a chair. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm just propping it up on the chair.
You know, this is a 3-hour interview. No, I was just thinking of you kneeling down into a chair for 3 hours.
I was gonna say, you know what? That's fine because that's 3 hours that I get of just like some sanity. So it's fine.
Yeah. What age are your kids?
So I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay. Both boys.
Yeah, both boys. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that it? Do you think? Like, you know, we're kind of,
yeah.
really
nah,
okay.
No.
You wouldn't be tempted. No. You wouldn't be tempted to complete the set and have a girl, no?
Oof, no. I'd have another boy for sure. I think I'm just one of those mums that just have boys, I reckon. So no.
Do you mean you'd have another boy for sure, as in biologically you don't think you'd have a girl, or mentally you wouldn't like a girl?
No, I just think biologically, like
Okay.
I'm a boy mum. I'm a boy mum.
They're kind of psychotic, aren't they?
What, boys?
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea. Like my two are just like, even just coming into the room and just like waiting for this to go live, I was just like, so nice, because they're like out there having a shower and just chaos, running up and down the hallway naked. Like it's next level. Yeah.
That's like kind of reassuring. I kind of, because we had a girl first and then we had a boy, and more or less up until you said that, I've been convinced he's broken. That there's something wrong with him.
Yeah. But you had a girl first, so that's even harder, I think.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, the girl, so she is kind of like, she's nice. No, she is. She's amazing, but like, she's kind of like, she's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, like, to deal with, where like he'll get like angry, like, or he'll have a tantrum, but it'll last like 5 seconds. Hers would be like, all right, they'll probably come out of this on Thursday some stage, like it's not. She really holds a grudge, like, whereas he's, he'll kind of be thick, and then you be like, hey, like, buddy, look, here's a sweeping brush, and he's like, oh, and he's happy, like, walking off with that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure there's like, pros and cons of both, but yeah, I feel like the boys, not that I've had a girl, but what I've seen, like, the boys are just way more active, and girls can kind of like sit and play like a little bit, but my boys, there's like, I can't even get them to sit down for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, she's, I think maybe because she was the first, she's kind of more reliant on us for playing. Like, she wants us to do this, do that, do the other. Whereas he's like, he'll go off and just absolutely wreck the kitchen in silence, and you won't know he's doing anything. So like, one of the things is he has worked out what presses open, like what cupboards open and what ones don't, and he doesn't try the ones that don't anymore. And we have those locks that you put a magnet to the door and it opens, but like, our cupboards are all shit, like, they're kind of skew ways, so you have to put the thing in certain places, or the door doesn't come tight enough. Like, they're just kind of slightly off, but if you tighten them, they go like crooked, so you can't do that. And it's a shithole. But he's worked out like the ones that open, and one of the ones that opens, fucking flour and sugar and everything is in there. And like, he's like, no matter how many times we move it or push it back, you just be like sitting, you could be outside, you could be anywhere, and you'd be like, where is he? Like, I haven't heard him or seen him in at least 10 minutes, and he'll just be white, and like, he'll have his hand like elbow deep in the flour. You're just like, right, okay, yeah, it's just, yeah, he's one of the, I'm glad it's common that it's not that he's defective.
Yeah, 100%. I think mine will, all three of our boys that are defective, because mine was.
Yeah, I was like strongly considering sending them back, but
I've said it many times, and my husband's actually said they're free to a good home, like.
I'd pay someone to take him.
I'd pay you.
Yeah. It's like an incentive adoption. Yeah,
literally, yeah.
So I was looking you up earlier on. So you were a hockey player originally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So What's your maiden name? What's your like pre-married name?
Marks.
Where's that originated from? Because Van Zyl that's like Dutch, is it?
Yeah, so it's actually pronounced fun sale. So Van
Okay.
Zyl, like in Australia, because people can't say fun sale. But so my husband's from South Africa.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's South African.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you grew up in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My whole life. Yeah.
Okay. And so field hockey, yeah.
Yep. Field hockey.
All right.
Yeah.
And now I've done an interview with someone who played field hockey, and I remember asking them lots of questions. So I kind of have a vague understanding. I'm not going to ask you loads of questions because I tend to do that when someone plays a sport that I'm not familiar with, where I ask just way too much, and it derails everything.
Bring it.
Well, Australia are good though, aren't they, at field hockey? Isn't it like Holland, New Zealand? Isn't there another random one? Is it like Germany or somewhere?
Yeah, Germany's good. Germany's good.
Australia, and then Ireland are quite good, aren't they?
Ireland's good.
Men's?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like, it's obviously very different from when I was playing.
When did you start playing it as a kid?
Yeah, I was playing from 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up playing for like 20 years.
Jeez.
A long time.
Is when you start playing, so is it kind of like nursery? Is it like you start and you don't have a stick, you're just like messing around with the ball and stuff, and then you keep moving up?
I actually play with a ball. So it's called minkies, is what we call it. I know, so cute. Yeah. So it's like just all these little kids, and I don't actually really remember. I still think it was like a hard ball. Have you seen like a hockey ball? It's not like a puck, like a hockey ball. Like it's dangerous. Like it's a pretty hard ball. It's kind of like a big golf ball. Exactly. Correct. Yeah. Exactly. I think we used to play with like a normal hockey ball. I don't ever remember playing.
Don't they? They make one with like holes in it, don't they?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
We used to have like a competition, like when I got older, because you'd always get hit with the ball, right? Like you'd get hit in the legs all the time, and we had like a competition in our team, like who could get the most of those dimples from the ball on your leg.
In the match, not like hitting it at each other.
No, like in the match. It's gonna end up. So it's like, and I think I remember I had the most of like 12 of those like little, and it just leaves the biggest cork on your leg. It's insane. Yeah. For
12, just thinking of the surface area of your ball, for 12 dimples to be left, it surely was enveloped by your leg. It obviously went in. Like yeah. Wow. Okay, it's like getting hit by a cannonball.
Literally.
What position did you play?
So I played like always in the forward line, so like center forward, wing, or the inside forward.
Is it aggressive?
Lots of running. Well, they say it's meant to be a non-contact sport, but it is very contact. Yeah. I think it's like sports. Like they say it's non-contact, but it's super.
And like contacts, do you mean like shouldering and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So they've got to like check your nails. So you'd have to like go out there and show your nails that it's like they're not long and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure you're not going to scratch anyone. But like at the international level, they would literally like, you'd be standing there and like they'd be like, this is the end of the stick. They'd be like digging that into like your hip, or like putting their leg in front of your leg. So if you go to run, you're going to fall over.
Tying your shoelaces together.
Right. The girls can be bitches, man.
Yeah, that's funny. I was actually watching, I watched a clip of, like there's a soccer show like Match of the Day in the UK, and they do kind of a podcast where they're talking about, they do like top 10s, and one of them was like top 10 vicious players, or like nasty players or whatever, and like there's some really obvious ones where like like leg breakers, or like Roy Keane or whatever, but they were talking about Ian Wright, who I never would have had this guy pegged as being rough or anything, but it's kind of like what you were saying, where they were saying like, oh, he used to deliberately grow his fingernails so that he could, if he like put his hand around someone's neck, to the referee, he's just like having a chat, but he's like digging his nails in. It's like, jeez.
That's what I mean. Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Craziness. It's craziness.
But even I was talking to like Kelly and oh my God, who else was I talking to that plays water polo? Fuck. Oh, it was like 3 days ago. Oh, my head is fried. Anyway, and I kind of jokingly said like, "Oh, you should grow like one of your toenails," and they were like, "No, yeah, that happens."
Yeah, well, my husband used to play water polo, and he was saying they used to like grope you in your private parts like underwater, like right. I was like, What?
Yeah, it's like a duck, like nothing happening above the surface of the water, and you're like
Like bashing each other in the nuts on each
castrating someone below the water.
right?
Keelan Henry, that's who it was. Thank God I remember that. That was going to annoy
Oh,
me. Keelan Henry. Okay, so 20 years. On what level did you play for Australia then?
I did, yeah. Yep, I played
Wow,
international for a good 4 or 5 years.
that's cool. Okay, and was
Yep.
that what kind of competitions were you at? Like Olympics, World Cup? Like what were you going to?
Yeah, so I did a World Cup and made the Olympic team, but I also got an injury, so I had to have a full jaw reconstruction. Um,
From
yeah,
hockey?
yeah. So I've had lots of facial injuries from hockey. A lot.
From the ball, like, because everything's like supposed to be below hip, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. So one was so the bad one was from a hockey stick. And then the other one after had all recovered, then I had braces. So I've had braces twice. So I had braces originally just for my teeth initially, that whatever. And then I had this injury, but then they had to actually put braces on my teeth before I had the surgery because then like my teeth would have to go back into place soon. So they wouldn't be able to put the braces on afterwards. It was a mess, man. It was a mess.
That sounds like oh, was it? Remember Kanye West was in that car crash and he sang Through the Wire.
It's pretty
It's the
much.
same thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So they
God.
had to fully reconstruct. So they basically just took my bottom jaw out. So like you get like I've got like scars all the way along here and on the roof of my mouth, like in the middle of the roof of my mouth. So when I woke up, it just felt so weird because my mouth was smaller, like the roof of my mouth was heaps smaller. It's weird, hey. And I know. And then if you see
But what caused, was it like, did you fall onto something? Like, it must have been a really aggressive
it was
movement.
like it wasn't intentional. I think it was a Japanese girl. She was running down the sideline and like I'm running like this, gonna jink the ball out. So I'm
Yeah.
like shadowing her, right? So I'm like running. And as she goes to like unintentionally, as she goes to hit the ball, I've jinked it out. So I've gone like jab, the ball's gone out, but I'm like leant all the way forward
Oh
and
God.
she still finished the swing.
Where was this? Like, what kind of setting?
So it was in Argentina. So it was in like a big international.
And was there just like silence?
Pretty much, because then I like pretty much passed out.
They're the type of moments where like the whole life is just sucked out of everyone that's watching it. Like, where it's like, I assume people watching are like, well, she's dead.
Pretty much, 100%,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yep.
Did you play again after that?
Yeah, I played again
Fuck.
after that. So then, the next injury that I got, so I had braces at that stage, but
So like essentially you were like, oh, there's definitely a film or something where someone's missing the bottom part of their like head. So it's basically just this was completely detached basically.
yeah, so like I've got like a bone, not that you can really see, but like I've got a bone that like sticks out here.
Yeah.
So it's like knobbly right there. So if I like lean on it for too long, it gets real sore. So I've got 4 plates and 18 screws in my face. So I think what happened here is the screws too tight. So then the bones angled down a bit.
Okay.
But you should see the x-ray. It's an absolute mess. It
And are
looks
all your teeth are left, like they're your teeth, like?
yeah, all my teeth.
What
But
are the chances that your jaw gets detached, but it's like, oh, and her teeth are just totally fine?
right, 100%. But from my next injury, this was a ball this time. It like I was holding my stick like this and it come up my stick and just got me in the face.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had my mouth guard on because my 2 front teeth were pushed back.
Oh God.
So then it's crazy. They ended up dying, but you can't tell.
Okay.
But I've got 4 dead teeth at the front of my mouth. So at some stage, I'll have to like have like
replace
implants,
veneers or
like
whatever.
that.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
crazy.
Colored, so it's not really that big of an issue, but that's going to be like a big thing to do. But
someday
yeah.
you'll just like bite into an apple and the 4 will just be stuck.
Probably.
It'll be great though if you got like removable ones just to embarrass your kids.
Yeah,
just like pull them out.
Like go one day.
Yeah, that's funny. My mother-in-law used to coach hockey. And my wife and her sisters and stuff did it. But like, yeah,
Field
that's Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's big into it. If you ever mention any kind of sport to my mother-in-law, within it's like that 3 degrees of separation or 7 degrees of separation, whatever. Within like 2 sentences, she's back to hockey. She's back to
Oh,
like
really?
yeah. She loves it. Like
That's
she loves it.
passion. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck,
awesome.
I'm really, really struggling to get that image out of my head of just like the jaw. How long were you waiting for it to be fixed?
So I didn't have surgery overseas, so I had to fly back first.
Just
So
like
that was
wobbling around.
pretty much. So I had to have like a big, I had to have like a big sling on my face. So we had to
Yeah.
wait a few days for the swelling to go down and medication and stuff like that, for me to actually be able to fly back.
And like bad pain, or did it kind of dissipate after, like after a while?
It was bad, but I was medicated, so it wasn't
Okay.
too bad. But after after having the surgery, so I couldn't eat so my playing hockey weight was about 61 kilos. Oh, do you work in kilos? Do you know what kilos?
Yeah. We're normal, yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. I don't know what that is in pounds. So I was like 61 kilos for playing weight, and then I couldn't suck or swallow or eat or anything for 10 weeks. So then I ended up losing 11 kilos. So I weighed 50 kilos.
Jeez.
It was so bad. So my face was real big. I went to like swish like a fly away, but I smacked myself in the face because my facial awareness, like I was numb.
As if it's not bad enough, you're just punching yourself in the face on top of
Right? And it hurt so bad, but then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how?
Oh my God. Look at this. Halpin's up early just to see us. Not nice. He's in America, so he's up really early. He's up at, it's like 5 a.m. or something. That's, known and knowable.
Go to sleep, bud.
Yeah. So when did you stop? When did you stop playing hockey then? If that didn't make you stop playing. So when did you stop playing?
Right. So I stopped playing in the start of 2013. So just after the year.
You started CrossFit that same year, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's so pretty much like when I was recovering from my second jaw injury.
The ball one, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started playing hockey because that's when I started doing CrossFit because I was meant to be doing like non-contact stuff. Like I wasn't allowed to like jump too much and whatever. So yeah, that's exactly when I started doing CrossFit, and then I literally have not looked back since. Crazy.
And where were you? Where did you start doing, or how did you land on CrossFit? How did you do that and not just do like lifting or something else non-contact?
Well, I was never strong. Like I've never been a strong athlete. Like obviously hockey's just like lots of endurance, and I was quite skinny and quite fast and whatever. So I really just wanted to do, like I've always been like a really dedicated to my sport kind of person. So I always want something that's hard. You know what I mean? I don't want to just do a sport that's like, for example, like golf. Like I know it's like hard in its own respect, but you know what I mean? Like it has to be difficult, and I need to see that's like I want to just be smashed, like be blowing hard and like just be real tired kind of thing. And I have heard that CrossFit was very like it was hard. It was, lots of things to learn. I was keen to like learn new things, get stronger and all that. So yeah, that's what pretty much made me start CrossFit.
And what was it? I'm assuming gymnastics was the hard part then. Would that be fair?
Oh.
If you had the base, you had the endurance, you were good at like sprinting, like power stuff, great. But then the gymnastics, I'm assuming the skills were non-existent before you started.
Yeah, gymnastics was non-existent. I didn't even do it as a kid. So like, oh God, I remember like in 2013 when I had to do a handstand, I couldn't even kick up to the wall. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy hearing someone talk like that. That's like, probably heading for the games. It's like mad to think that there was a point, because most people it's like, oh well, I used to do loads of gymnastics when I was a kid, or I was like a competitive whatever, and then but I think hockey, like you say, it's kind of like swimming, I guess. It's got a really specific type of engine where it's all like short bursts and like so it is useful, but it's very different from the actual sport that you're doing now. It's crazy, really.
A long time, and it's all due to my like I said to you, why I started CrossFit is because I've got a lot of dedication to a sport. So once I'm like in it and I enjoy it, I'll give everything to it. So I think that's my savior, because then I was like, I was annoyed that I couldn't do things. Like I didn't have muscle ups. So I would literally, like, I started coaching and stuff as well. I'd like go in on weekends and go in on Sundays and just practice muscle ups. Like I would not stop until I got that skill.
Yeah, I have you pegged as one of those like already ripped hands, but still doing it, like blood on the
100.
bar, blood on the
Oh,
shins. That
yep. Nothing will stop me.
Yeah. You're basically you. I think you and my wife are kind of kindred spirits
I
in
love
that
that.
regard.
I like her already.
I remember what year was it? Was it 2017 or something where there was toes to bar, and was it dumbbell snatch and toes to bar or something? And she had just started to get toes to bar, and I remember her hands after fucking hell. It was like honestly, she couldn't. Like I had to wash her hair. Like she couldn't do anything for about 2 weeks. They were like, it was like big, like halfway down her palm rips, and it was like after about 10 reps, it was just like kept going. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's a hockey thing. Maybe that's where it comes from.
See, hockey players are built different.
Yeah, built different. Yeah. Okay, so you started 2013, and then you went to the games in 2019 on your own. Is that right?
Yeah, 2019. So when it was regionals, I made regionals from 2015. So 2015, 2016, and then I had my son in 2017. And then still competed 2018, and then made the games in 2019 through the Open when you could make it through the Open.
When in 20? I've already forgotten the year you said. 2017. When was he born in 2017?
August. So I still did the Open. I was like 13 weeks pregnant when I was doing the Open, and I made regionals. So I made top 30, but then I couldn't submit a video because I wasn't videoing it, and I wasn't expecting to make it. But then I was like, oh shit, I better try and do it again so that I can submit a video, because I don't want a zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it says that you're like 200 and whatever thousandth. So you'll see 2017 year is like really bad for me, even though it's just because I couldn't submit a video.
No, okay. Yeah. And then, so he was born in August of that year, and you did the Open again in February.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It
was 2018.
Okay. And what was your recovery like? Say after having him, because like I know, see, even from my wife, there's like one of the things that she was kind of shocked by was like, you kind of hear like, oh, you need to be careful and you need to do this and you need to think about that and don't engage this. And, like, and there's a long time where you can't engage like your core properly, or you shouldn't. And, you kind of have to work on your pelvic floor afterwards and stuff. But she said that like one of the big adjustments for her was that like once she was able to start training again, was that like it just didn't feel like her body at all, like that it was so vastly different. And like she found it hard to verbalize it, but she was like, everything just feels totally different. Like she was like, I feel weaker, but then I feel stronger in certain areas, and I feel like I shouldn't be doing things. And it's just like almost like a lack of confidence thing. Did you have any of that?
Yeah, totally. 100%, especially after having my first child. So with my first, he was actually very preemie. So he was born at 32 weeks. So he was 8 weeks premature.
I saw you put pictures up. It was Mother's Day. Yeah, you put pictures up of him. Yeah, he was tiny.
He was tiny. So he was 1.8 kilos when he was born. Like so small, super small. So obviously that was a very emotional kind of thing. But I didn't really get huge. You know what I mean? Because usually that last 8 weeks is where you kind of get quite big. So I feel like my recovery, like with like my stomach and stuff, was pretty quick, to be honest. But obviously everything still happens to the insides, and I obviously gave vaginal birth and stuff like that. So everything's still kind of pretty much the same. But yeah, coming back, I had no issues during my pregnancy with my first one, but afterwards I had quite a lot of problems with my back and my iliac joint, and still to this day I still have a lot of problems. But yeah, coming back, it was just very, like, I totally understand what your wife is saying, and I understand fully how she felt, because it's just, you used to feeling one way when you're doing something, but you just feel completely different, and you don't, like, obviously you know why, but you're like, is this ever going to be the same again? You know what I mean? So you just kind of question everything, like, should I be doing this? Am I going to be, am I engaging my core too much? Is it going to separate more? You know what I mean? So
yeah, like I think coning was her favorite word for about like 3 months, where she was like, is it? Like, like constantly.
Absolutely.
And like,
I still use it. Like, I'm like, my stomach still does cone a little bit. Like,
Are you happy with how and when you went back and everything?
I think so. Yeah, like I did definitely seek some help. So
Yeah.
I like a sports physio, so she kind of would help me with my pelvic floor stuff, and also like give me more of a guidance on what she thinks I can and can't do straight away and that kind of stuff. So I was pretty good.
Mm.
Um, so I just basically like I'm all for just going with how you feel, but obviously you need some knowledge. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're not like if you haven't done it before, you kind of need some kind of knowledge from a professional like a sports physio that specializes in that. Um, so then I just tried to just be smart and just come back nice and slow. But yeah, it's crazy since having kids, it just gives you another level of like determination and like grunt because nothing's as bad as pushing something out of your hoo you know?
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is mad. It's mad that you're at the level that you're at with two kids, like especially the like one being like the 5-year-old. I'm kind of like, all right, like it's busy, but like a 5-year-old is kind of you can negotiate, you can reason a
Yes.
bit, you can a 2
You
year
can
old is just
bribe. You
a
can
2 year
bribe
old
a
is just
little bit.
a terrorist, like just like emotional terrorist.
Oh,
Like yeah, crazy. Like so you obviously we'll get on to your coaching and stuff and who you're working with and stuff in a while, but like after that 2019 you made it to the games.
yeah.
So what's your first son's name? Sorry.
Hunter.
Hunter. Okay. So Hunter's like 1.5, like 18 months ish. Yeah. Nearly two. Pretty
Mhm.
much two by the time you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So did they go with you? Did you go on your own?
No, so my husband, me, and my son went.
Okay.
So
You were like, no, it's honestly, guys, it's okay. You can stay at home. I don't mind.
it
He's like,
was
no, we want to support you. No, like really.
I love you,
I
but no.
I insist.
Yeah, seriously. So then I'm actually super grateful to my mother-in-law because she actually suggested to take because obviously Hunter was so young,
Yeah.
to take like an antibiotic like that's not made yet, just like the powder antibiotic overseas just in case he got sick.
Okay.
So, because apparently, like the medical system over there, if you needed to go when you're from here, it's just like a nightmare and expensive and all that stuff. So, anyway,
Yeah.
I filled that script, took it with me. Bloody hell, I'm so glad I did because he was so sick, like
Oh God.
so sick. So, we had to like try and manage that when we're staying in this like 1-bedroom apartment and try and get me to sleep and stuff. But that was just non existent. And it was just an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
But you did quite well though. You finished like top 60 or something, didn't you? Wasn't like
Yeah.
50 something or
Yeah. So I think I finished like 50 something.
yeah,
I don't know.
57 is in my head, but that might
Yeah.
not be right.
Something like that. Um,
Um, so
yeah.
like, yeah, like were there were there times where you were like, oh man, I wish I got cut in the first, like when you're going through that with him at home and all the like, do you compartmentalize it? Do you just say like, all right, like I'll trust that my husband is fine and that like I'll like do you just kind of hand over the reins completely or because
I
I'm
can't.
assuming it's difficult as a mother just to be like
It's
listening
so,
to
even me now prepping for Torian in a week and a half, I still really struggle with like I am a very selfless person. Like there's no part of me that's selfish at all.
yeah
And I know that like these next week, like this week, next week and a half is super important for me, but I still feel like I've got, I don't want him to feel overly tired. Like my kids are so full on. Knox still doesn't sleep. So he's waking up 2 to 3 times a night. So like I feel super bad expecting my husband to do all of that, plus do some extra coaching for me. You know what I mean? So I feel
yeah.
like it's really hard and I really struggle with it to kind of just like, and I know that he can cope with it and I know he can do it, but me, the guilt is just,
That's the
it's
thing. I
hard.
think the guilt really eats away at you because even
It
and
does.
no matter how irrational it is, or no matter how many times you're told it's fine, it doesn't feel fine. Like so, yeah, I get that a lot. Where if I think a lot of it came when we had our second kid. A lot of it came from obviously Orla was quite integral to like Bodhi staying alive for the first like while or whatever. So like
Yeah.
I took a lot of the stuff over with Sloan then, where I was like going into her and helping her and that kind of stuff, and then I think I didn't want to let that go because I was like, well, this is my way of helping, so I'll just keep doing this. And then,
Exactly.
like now even if I'm doing a show and I hear the kids crying, I like text my wife being like, is everything okay? Like I'd gladly just be like, I gotta go. Because the guilt, I can't deal with listening to them crying, and I don't like helicopter. I don't like if they're crying over something stupid, I won't be like,
Yeah.
Pick them up or whatever. But if it's nighttime, I would never be able to do that Furberizing, like we just let them cry it out, or no, like I can't. I'm too soft.
Me neither. Same.
Yeah. Guilt is just, it's a motherfucker. Like it's bad.
Total. Yep.
So then, okay, so your husband, 2018, your husband went over with you with the kid and had such a bad time minding him that he decided he was going to the game's end as well. Is that right?
Pretty much. And we're just like, let's just leave the kids at home.
Yeah. So were you both on the team together 2020, 21 and 22?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And is that your gym? Is Urban Energy, you guys own that or coach?
Yeah.
Okay, you own it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's in Brisbane.
No, it's Gold Coast.
Okay.
Yeah. So not far from Brisbane.
It's beside LSKD, kind of, isn't it? It's near there somewhere.
Pretty much, yeah. Not far from LSKD. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's my Australian geography is based around where does Brandon Swan live, where is LSKD, where does Can live, where does Newbury live. Like that, they're my little pinpoints.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Newbury lives like just around the corner from me now because he lives on the Gold Coast now.
Okay, and Vakey's near there too, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you own the gym. You both coach, like in the gym full time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then both qualified on a team together. That's remarkable. That's surely rare, is it? That a couple gym owners both qualify while working and running the affiliate.
Yeah, it's tough work.
I can't think of many examples of it. Do you work well? Like, do you obviously work well together, as in like running a business and a family and stuff? But what's it like? You strike me as someone who's incredibly competitive and like, maybe demanding of your teammates and stuff, I guess, with that level of competitiveness. What was it like doing? Because I find if I train with my wife, like I'm more myself with my wife than I am with anyone else. So if I'm training or doing like an open workout or someone and someone's like, oh, like keep moving or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'll put on a face and be like, oh, this is great help. Whereas if she talks to me, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Just like, I don't talk to me. Like, this is literally like, I'd gladly stop a workout and be like, this is as fast as I can move. Just lay off. Like, what are you guys like training together? Like, was that an adjustment to competing together, say, rather than just training together?
I don't know. I think just because
or have you got a healthy marriage?
We're still married. To be honest, I like competing together was actually super fun because he's really fit and he knows my strengths and my weaknesses and that kind of stuff. And we do really work quite well together in that regard. Mm-hmm. You'll actually see at Torian, I think it was the 2021, we're doing burpees over because obviously he's very tall. He's like 6'4". Yeah. He's a big boy. Like, he's super tall. And I'm like laying on the ground because I'm the caller, because obviously like my endurance is like pretty good. So I'm like at the back and I can talk and still exercise and whatever. So I'm like laying on the ground and I'm like smacking the floor and Donovan! And he was like, hurry up. So, but then he tries so hard. But like, he knows I'm like that. He knows I'm going to be like, come on, let's go. But he's the same. Yeah. So we're both very similar in that regard. Like, he'll kill himself. And I know that he'll kill himself, for it kind of thing. Yeah. So I don't really ever need to like be like that unless he's like fully dying. So
part of me is like, I'd love to hear that specific anecdote from his perspective. Like, I'd love to show you both the video separately and have you say like, yeah, so here I was just trying to encourage him and like really gets the team going, and he'll be like, I hated her so much in that moment.
and for weeks after, everyone was like, like, how did that go down? Like, are you guys okay? And he's like, oh, and I'm like, no, it was all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. You've done that. You've done that same facial expression and voice for your impressions of him twice now in 2 minutes.
Don't tell him that.
Okay, so 2021, you guys finished. Hang on, what age is your other kid? 2.
2.
Knox.
Yeah.
So was he born in 2020?
20. December
Oh.
2020.
So like a lockdown baby. Well, an end of lockdown baby.
Well, I actually ended up making the games in 2020 individually, but that's when the whole COVID. Yeah. So that's when the whole COVID thing happened, and it was all like done at your gym, like the online stuff.
When was he born in 2020?
December, 1st of December.
How the fuck did you do that?
And so this is the biggest thing. So during my pregnancy with Knox, so in 2020 I made the games individually, decided not to do it because I didn't want to, like, I'm not a person that's just like, oh, I want to make the games just for the hey everyone,
Yeah.
I made the games, how cool am I? That's not who I am or not what I'm about. I want to go to the games for being there, competing against people, seeing how good I can be, and that kind of thing. And it wasn't that.
So you qualified for stage 1 and just opted out.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So then that's when we decided to have another baby because we wanted to have a baby with like 3 years difference.
Yeah.
But I was going to wait a year because if I made the games in 2020, we'd just wait another year. But then COVID, so we ended up having another baby.
But so you weren't pregnant during like the Open? No. No. Okay. Yeah. So like May-ish. No. Geez, it wouldn't have been far off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was pretty much straight after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much like straight after. Yeah.
You and like then, clicked decline, went to bed.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Much. And then so then fell pregnant with Knox, and then so during my pregnancy with him, I got to 17 weeks, and they saw that on my scan, my cervix was shortening too soon. Okay. So obviously the bigger the baby gets, the shorter the cervix, and then like it gets to nothing, and then you dilate and you have the baby.
Yeah.
So my cervix was at like 2 centimeters when it should have been at like 6.
Okay.
So then I ended up having a emergency cerclage, which is basically like sewing your cervix shut.
Okay.
To keep him in there. So if we hadn't have found that out or done that, he would have been born at like before 20 weeks, and it would have been very bad. Yeah. So then I was not allowed to train or do anything during my pregnancy with Knox. So it was for a good 7.5 months that all I did was echo bike, which I probably still shouldn't have done too much of, and seated dumbbell press. That's all I did every day for like 7.5 months.
So like boulder shoulders and Sunday cycles.
Pretty much. And yeah, so that's literally all I could do. So once I had him, then recovering from that, it was literally like 3.5 months until we had to go to the games.
Wow. But again, that was a pretty quick post recovery though. It wasn't. Yeah, it was just the actual pregnancy was rough in that regard, but afterwards is pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, smooth sailing, but still my back was really bad.
Okay.
So during pregnancy with Knox, my back was terrible. I'd be in tears. I couldn't get off the floor. It's
probably like a compounding of
100%.
The first one. Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. And what was it like? So, like, are you during that period of time then, if you've always been active and you've always been competitive and you've always been, and even in your first pregnancy, you were very active and you're training a lot and stuff.
Yep.
Do you just tell yourself that the ends justify the means? Is that how you get through those 7 months?
100%.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I choose, like, I want to be a mother, and, you know, I want to bring a healthy baby into the world. So it's like, it was super difficult because I've always been an athlete. I've always exercised. I've always done that, but it's for a pretty big reason why I'm not doing it. So I kind of found some clarity, I guess, in that, but it was hard. It was definitely hard.
So December, 9 months old ish then Knox was about when you went. What was that like?
It wasn't too bad because he wasn't at that stage crawling or anything like that. So what we ended up doing is, so our teammates have 2 kids, but they're older. They were 10 and 8, I think. And then mine were, oh God, Hunter would have been like
three and
3 or
one and a
3,
bit, yeah.
3 or 4. And Knox was about 9 months old. So then we ended up taking a nanny with us. So we took a nanny with us over to the games so she could like watch the kids while we competed. But then we were back to being parents again because she just would watch them while we competed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would have told her, no, you're doing it.
Literally. Oh, but again, it's like that guilt of like, and
yeah.
like, and you know what it's like probably with your kids as well. This is a bit better. With your kids as well, it's like they just want mum all the time. That's just mum. That's all they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I'm a good dad, so they want me as well. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, that's like, God, imagine being on that fucking plane. I'm just thinking about a regular passenger on that plane being like, there are 5 adults looking after those kids. Please, one of you do something.
It was a nightmare. So I ended up going to like, you've probably got different shops to me, but like where like little knickknacks are, like little stamps and stickers. And
yeah, that like the real like terrible for the environment, like just
100%. Terrible.
Yeah.
But I ended up wrapping up like 50 little presents, so they actually had to like really try and get into them. So then when they're being rowdy, I would like bring out some so they could open.
Here's a reward for being a dick. Here's
pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going on a ferry holiday in like July, start of July, and I got a tablet. It's so like there's like she only ever gets her tablet on like a long drive. And like she's only really had it when we went on holidays before on the plane, and there's basically just got like frozen on it and nothing else. But I got like a tablet thing so they're both in rear facing seats, so there's a tablet thing that like mounts onto the back headrest.
Yeah.
And then it'll go in between them. So that's our plan for the car. And then like for the ferry, like I don't know if you've ever been on a ferry, but like it's a like health and safety shit show. Like so if you're used to like airplanes and stuff, everything's like boxed off. You can't go here, you can't go there, you leave this on, you can't stand up, but basically everybody on the plane knowing you're standing up. But on a ferry, the doors are like there's like there's a foot off the ground that you have to step over in every door. Like they don't just they're not flush to the floor, they're like raised off the floor.
Like, yeah.
And like you can walk through one of those doors and it's just immediate metal staircase at like 60-degree angle. Like there's no like, there's a stairway around here. Like you just go up it's like you're falling downstairs as soon as you step through the door. So like my wife was like, oh no, but it'll be fine because we can entertain him so much on the ferry. And I was like, that boat is going to sink. Like he's going to like eat a hole through the side of the ship or something like. So yeah, we're looking into all that kind of stuff now. My wife is like, oh, we'll get like a little hamper for each of them and don't let them touch them until we're on the boat and then hand them over. And then I was like, but what are you going to put in his like? And she's like, oh, like little toys and stuff. And she was like, little toy cars. And I was like, have you met him? Like, what do you mean little toy cars? He literally look at it, throw it away. And then we're like, right, what's next? It's an empty bag. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's fucking hell. Okay, so 2019, how did the obviously it was different with the Hunter wasn't sick the second, like it wasn't that kind of stress wasn't there, I guess, and you had extra help in the evenings and stuff. But how did it compare as a competitive experience or like as a life experience competing on a team in 2019 or 2021 and as an individual in 2019?
I think me in 2019, I was still kind of very not new to the sport, but I still like it takes a long time to build strength. It takes a long time to get like good at gymnastics. And I knew then I was still like one of the littler ones, like, just fit, made it through the open because I'm great at the open and that kind of thing. But I wanted to go to just experience it. And it was awesome. Like it's stressful. It's way more stressful than a team. A team's so much fun. A team, I feel like, when you're resting, at least you're still getting reps done. But when you're there as an individual, if you're resting, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all on you, and which after the 2 years competing on a team, I was ready to go back to everything relying on myself, because I feel like that's where more of my self growth will come from.
Is that why you went? So you went team again, 2022, like say
Yep.
last game season. Is that
Yep.
why you've gone back individual now? Is it just? And is that like, is it an accumulation of, say, you wanted to test yourself and all that kind of stuff, but as well, like home was a bit more settled and stuff?
Yeah, I think it was more like, not that I didn't get better for 2 years, but when you're in a team, you basically just need to practice the thing that, like, the things that the team needs to get better at, not the
Okay.
things you individually need to get better at, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Like lots of worm, and that was just with my back. That was just stuffing my back up so bad. So because just everything like single sided, like from hockey, everything on my left side's heaps stronger than my right. So I'm like a bit skew. Um, so just things like that. So I feel like since coming back to like the individual scene and being with Justin and whatever, I've just gotten so much better. So much better, because I can actually focus on my weaknesses and stuff now.
So I interviewed, or I did a live show during the games last year,
Mm-hmm.
and Justin was on it, and he said, "Oh, I can't remember how it came up, but I was basically like, oh, is there any changes coming like to underdogs or whatever the next while?" And he kind of said like, "Oh yeah, a couple of like athletes joining," and he's kind of hinting and hemming and hawing and stuff. And I was like, "Who? Like who?" And I'm kind of thinking, did he say? I don't think he said it on the call, but he said it afterwards. He said that you were coming on, and like he was excited by it, and I think it's obviously worked out well. But I'm curious as to why, like, why him? Why underdogs? Why him? Why not someone down the road? Like, why not someone on the Gold Coast? Why not someone who can get hands on and see you regularly? Like, is it a case that you wanted someone with his expertise and knew that you had, say, your own experience? Your husband was there; he's experienced. Like that kind of side was kind of covered, so you just needed like the guidance more so.
Yeah, 100%. It was more the guidance, to be honest. And like I have friends that were coached by him or still are coached by him. So I had good conversation with Christine Best. You probably
Okay.
know. So I had a good conversation with her, and then like we kind of got chatting to Justin, and then obviously like Justin didn't know too much about me really, except for I made individual in 2019 and whatever. So he didn't really know much about me. But he knew I had a good engine, because I think they posted something from Underdogs way like before I even was doing it, but I ended up doing the workout, and then I posted my score, and then I'm pretty sure he messaged me and was like, "Whoa," like kind of thing. So he definitely remembered me specifically for having a good engine. So yeah, then we just like a Zoom call, and then yeah, like I think because he's a parent as well, so he understands the difficulty it is trying to have young kids. He's got young kids, the exact same ages as mine, 5 and 2 or 3, pretty much. So he understands the difficulty of not being able to get all your training done, sickness all the time, no sleep, and like he gets it. So
Yeah.
it's quite nice that I can like have that real conversation with him, and he knows how I feel.
And you obviously, I saw there's a video, I think CrossFit Games posted on Sunday with Fakey and you for the Torian kind of documentary that's coming out. And you were kind of saying like, recovery and like, mobility just non-existent. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and like the thing is, I just want to be real with people. Like,
How do you prioritize? Like, so say, I'm assuming with underdogs, there's probably like, on the competitive track, there's probably like an A, B, C, D every day or something, and then maybe like a monostructural thing. Do you just say like, okay, I'll do A and D today and the monostructural, and then tomorrow I'll do B? Like, do you have to segregate it that much, or is it mainly just like you might alter the pieces to be shorter or different?
it depends on what the workouts are. So I try to prioritize the things that I need to get done more so than the other.
Yeah.
Um, but then it ends up being like, so I only have one session a day. There's no way in hell that I could do 2 sessions. So if my sessions end up being so long, so I'll train from, let's say, 10:30 till about 2:30. But that's like back to back smashing everything out. And by 2:30, I'm absolutely rooted. Like my intensity is just shit. So sometimes there's something that's like super intense, like if there's two real intense pieces or something, I'll be like, okay, I'll use my Thursdays, my active recovery to do that. But then it ends up being like I'm training like 14 days in a row because my Thursdays don't end up being active recovery. They end up being a full training day.
Yeah.
So that's the only way that I could kind of like catch up on things. But then I ended up being like, okay, Caitlin, don't overthink it. If you can't get it done, just move on. Just move on. So that's kind of like, it just takes a lot of learning and a lot of like letting go to kind of mentally be okay with that.
What do you think has been the biggest change you've noticed since starting to work under Justin?
I think just like once all the workouts come out for the semis, there wasn't really anything that I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared that this is going to come up. You know, like usually in the past, there's definitely been like 2 or 3 things that I've been like, oh no, I hope this doesn't come out, that kind of thing. And definitely like in this semi, there's definitely things that I'm like, oh, not super confident about, but I can still do it, but it's going to be hard, but it's okay. So I think that's the difference with what I've been training with Justin is we've just been really smashing those things that I'm not so confident with. And it's just made a hell of a difference.
And Jared is your agent, isn't he? Your manager or agent? Okay. How did that come about through Underdogs then?
Yeah. So that
Underdogs,
yeah.
Okay. And have you noticed like a change? Because I know, like, say, looking in your bio on Instagram, there's like brands listed and stuff. Like, is that been an adjustment that you're actually like a draw for that kind of thing? Whereas before it was like the team and everyone, and it was like now it's like it's all on you basically.
100%, yeah. And Jared's amazing. Like Jared's super cool. He's super helpful. He's really like onto it, and he's just like a super nice guy. You know Jared personally, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a legend. So yeah, no, I'm super stoked to be working with him, and yeah, so he's so good. He's so good.
Do you find pressure? Obviously, you say that you want to get better and that this, like that you're ready for the individual side of things. But you mentioned earlier on that when you're on your own, there's no rest, there's no escape, there's no hiding. If you fuck something up, it's just you standing on the floor, not able to do something. And you've got these the sponsors and stuff as well, and you've got like your community and your family, and there's a lot of people that again, similar to the guilt, rationally or irrationally, that you don't want to like let down.
Of course.
Like, is that an added pressure that you're kind of adjusting to?
Definitely. 100%. I'm working with a mindset performance person at the moment because I know, like, I'm trying not to leave any stone unturned because like I just want to be all in and give my absolute best. And I know that previously going individual, anything that's going to, like, obviously ability, yes, is going to stuff me up, but also this is the biggest thing for me. So I've been really trying to work on like staying in my own lane, not focusing on what everyone else is doing, and really just trying to like focus on, Caitlin, you've done the work, you've done the hard work, trust yourself, So I'm working with her, and it's helping a lot, like just with little strategies in like how to approach my training to practice with, when I'm going to be competing, and just little things like that is just it's helping me mentally try to not let all that pressure get to me. And a lot of the pressure is I put it on myself. You know what I mean? Like people are like, oh, you're going to go to the games. You're going to go to the games. I'm like, man, I'm going to do my best. Like I'm honestly going to do my absolute best. And if it's good enough, amazing. If it's not, then fuck, I'm just going to work even harder to do it again next year. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just really trying to be calm and not let all the outside noise affect me as much as
I think, that's a good approach.
Yeah.
So is that something that you struggled with before then, where you'd look left and see someone was a step ahead and change your approach just to catch up or pass them out or whatever?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's like
it's like the anti-advice in CrossFit. It's like
right?
It's like the one thing that you don't do. Yeah.
And that was just me because I've always been, and what my mindset lady has said, like, you don't want to be the hunted, you want to be the hunter. So I have always felt like I've been the hunted. So I've always been the little one that like everyone was so much better, and that's how I viewed it. I never really praised myself for, Caitlin, shit, like you got some good endurance, man. You're good on the machines. You're good at this. You're good at that. I would always just look at the negatives. I'd always just be like, oh, well, I'm bad at that. I'm bad at that. I'm bad at that. And I'm bad at that. So I think that's the difference now is I'm really starting to trust myself a little bit more and trust my ability.
That's good. How do you feel about the workouts and like semi-finals and stuff?
I feel a little bit conflicted. Like I'm excited. There's some good ones. There's some, I'm not very good at bench press. So that's going to be like let's, work out a plan and try and stick to it kind of thing. Cause that's bloody heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy dumbbells. But nonetheless, like I'm excited. There's nothing that I'm really like, oh my God, I can't do. So yeah, I'm just ready to kind of get my plan together, know that I've given 100% to my prep and to, like I said, leaving no stone unturned and just be just ready, And
are you going to stay in like beside Torian, or are you going home? Not going home, surely.
Well, I was actually going to be coming back home because home is like 40 minutes drive.
Yeah.
And where the arena is, there's nowhere really super close to stay. But my friends ended up being like, okay, Caitlin, I think it's going to be best that you stay away from the kids for the weekend.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. Which I'm like, I totally agree with you. So we're staying at an Airbnb like 20 minutes away. So they're going to cook my food and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be good.
That's cool. Yeah, everyone needs friends like that. That's cool.
Oh, they're the best. Seriously, they're the best.
So I'm assuming, like, is that where your focus goes as far as then? You haven't thought about anything beyond Torian. It's just like just to go there, see what happens, and hopefully ducks fall into a line, basically.
100%. Yep. I haven't. Yeah. I'm not focusing on anything after that. All of my energy is on Torian.
That's cool. What would be? So do you care like where you finish once you finish? Like once you have a ticket, it doesn't bother you if you're first, second. Like obviously, like first, like great or whatever, but you don't really give a shit once you have a ticket.
No, I don't care. It doesn't worry me. Like I just want to be what I want to get out of Torian. Obviously, making the games would be amazing, but my main goal for Torian is I've tested the workouts. I just want to make sure that I execute every plan that Justin and I put together and be proud of the effort that I've put in and that I've not like felt like, oh shit, I could have done that better. Or, oh, I didn't do that because I was tired and I didn't, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that that's definitely my goal. And my whole aim of Torian is just being proud of what I've put in and the effort that I gave.
That's cool. So irrespective of how the season goes, I'm assuming we can expect you at like down under Waterpalooza again. Would that be the plan, do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's meant to be like fully verbalized or anything yet, but I'm going to be in a pretty sick down under team, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's something to look forward to. That's team of 4, isn't it?
Nah, so it'll be 3 girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where are the other girls from Australia as well?
So I suppose it doesn't really matter. So I think Sarah is going to come over and spend some time in Australia.
Wow, okay.
A good 6 months or something. So we're going to have an awesome, hopefully, training next year together, which will be super good. Cool. Yeah. And then also Alex Gazan is going to come for a little visit because she's got to do some things along the way. So that's the plan at this stage.
Okay.
Focusing on semis right now, so we haven't spoken about it too much, but that was the plan. And if all things can happen, we'll definitely make it happen if we can.
That's cool. I hope you don't get in trouble for saying that. It's okay. It's not like it's live or anything.
No, not
live. Listen, thanks. I really appreciate you coming on. It's been great to get to chat to you. I'm delighted to get you on the show, and best of luck with Torian and raising 2 terrorists in your house.
Yeah, good luck to you too, man. Oh
yeah, I think
it's hard work. It's damn hard work. So I take my hat off parent that like, yeah, it's hard.